Hiya, folks. Sandro here with more cartoon news and shenanigans. And today I don't necessarily have cartoon news for you. I actually have a cartoon shenanigan. So that's what I think the cartoon shenanigans are where I'm going to talk about anything that isn't necessarily a news article. Even though we kind of have a news article in the background here, just to have a placeholder to look at in the video. And so I wanted to talk about today that I watched the very first episode of Star Trek Lower Decks, which is, as you might have heard all across the internet by now, is not that great, honestly. Not that great at all. Um, so I wanted to talk about, yeah, so the episode came out today, or yesterday, I think it was, or 2 days ago in Canada, which is where I am in Canada. It's on, I believe it was on something called Crave TV. So somebody recorded it on Crave TV, passed it around, and as you know, it's out there in the wild, on the high seas, as they say. So anyone can go watch that episode. And the episode is called Second Contact, and I'm going to talk about that a bit later, why it's called that. Not too much later, though. But before that, I wanted to talk about my history before I talk about the episode. Um, so when it comes to these, what would you call them? Space, sci-fi types of shows. Um, my experience with them is I've never seen any of Star Wars at all. Like not like I've seen maybe like 10 minutes of one of the movies, and then I fell asleep and I don't even remember it. So I honestly just don't know much about Star Wars other than I've seen the characters in pop culture. Like, I'm a big Soul Calibur fan, and those of you who played Soul Calibur 4, you might remember they had Darth Vader, Yoda, and The Apprentice. That's who it was. They had those three characters in Soul Calibur. So I learned about Star Wars characters through that game, sort of ish. But yeah, so that's my experience with Star Wars. And then with Star Trek, which is another big, like one of those spacey sci fi properties, I've also never seen any of the shows. I never seen. This is actually my first. I watched the episode of this show, and this is my first forte into Lower Decks. So there's that. And yeah, so I've never seen any Star Wars, never seen any Lower Decks, and but the show I did see, the other sort of and the Orville, I've never seen any of the Orville, which is supposed to be some kind of like parody of Star Trek or whatever the hell. I don't know about much about the Orville. I know it has the guy who does Family Guy, like what was his name, Seth MacFarlane. Yeah, so there's that, and then the only one that I have experience with is Doctor Who, and I saw so I watched. There was this big reboot years ago, and it feels like forever ago now. But there was the ninth Doctor, who was Christopher Eccleston, I think that's how you pronounce it, and then there was the 10th Doctor, who was David Tennant. He was amazing. David Tennant, what a legend. Okay, I loved. He just brought so much to the screen. Great actor, just made me want to watch the show every week. And then after him, um, was it Matt Smith? Yeah, I think the 11th Doctor. So yeah, so then the 11th Doctor was Matt Smith, and he was actually pretty good too. I didn't mind him. Um, and also I'll say the ninth Doctor. I just found his British accent like a little bit hard to understand sometimes. So I didn't enjoy the ninth Doctor as much as the 10th, and the 11th was good, but not as good as David Tennant. And then, of course, there was Peter Capaldi, and I thought the writing of the show had become so woke by the time from the time of David Tennant to the time Peter Capaldi rolled around. I thought the show had just like went off a cliff down woke road, and it was nuts. And like I just they had the episodes were like he had like a companion named Bill who was like some she had like a boy's name or whatever the hell. They made a whole big deal out of it. It was like, oh, girls can be called Bill too, or whatever the fuck. And then she ends up with like an alien lesbian puddle relationship, and I'm like, what the fuck is even happening anymore? And it just got woke. Some of the lines that Peter Capaldi was given were like, it was super weird, man. It was just so weird. So I quit in Peter Capaldi's run, and good thing I quit during Peter Capaldi's run because they then brought in Jodie Whittaker, and apparently they cranked that feminist wokeness and all the other SJW hoo ha right up to 11, and they apparently ruined the show. They ended up saying that like the doctor was a black baby, and the first doctor wasn't even like the first doctor is no longer the first doctor. He's like Doctor XYZ because we don't even know how many regenerations have been, because it was kind of cool where you could just be like, uh, what was his name? William Hartnell was the very first doctor. So you were able to say William Hartnell, he was the first doctor. You're able to say David Tennant, he's the 10th doctor, etc., etc. There was also a war doctor who was played by John Hurt, I'm pretty sure. So there was that too. There was that too. Um, so yeah, Doctor Who. I saw. I got off because it was just too woke. I was like, fuck this shit, I'm out. And I left it. So that's my relationship with these sort of spacey sci-fi comedy. I don't know if you would say comedy. They're more like space sci-fi types of gimmicks. So that's my relationship. So going into this, I've never seen any other Star Trek. I don't like. I've heard of in pop culture. I've heard people be like, "Oh yeah, there's some language called Klingon." That's about all I know about Star Trek, so I am just out of the loop when it comes to this stuff. So I watched the first episode, um, and what did I think of it? So I'm gonna talk about some of the good things, some of the bad things. I could tell you right now that across the board, people do not like this thing, and so I happened to type it in. I just typed in Star Trek's Lower Decks on Google, and I get snarky humor and sincere admiration make an awkward match in a new workplace comedy about low-ranking Starfleet officers. Um, so yeah, and you can see they gave it a 2.5 stars out of 5, which would equate to basically if you were to rank this out of 100 or 10, it would basically be 50, 5 out of 10, or 50 out of 10, or 50 out of 100, which is basically just a passing grade. Like if you're in school, like 50% is like dead on the nose of being a failure. You know what I mean? So it's like if you got 49, you're like under the threshold of intelligence in school. So yeah, what do I give this before I even talk about it? I will tell I give it a 4 out of 10. Or a 40 out of 100. Uh, and I honestly have to say, it wasn't actually that woke. It wasn't like I don't think was there any wokeness in there like that was too overtly, I don't think so. Other than I guess you could say not even no. I was gonna say like the captain is the leader of this little team here is a brown girl, and then the leader of the ship or the captain of the ship is also her mom, who's a brown girl. But it's like it doesn't come off as like a woke like let's just have a black person up there just because. It doesn't feel like one of those like forced let's put a black person in there type of deals. So so there's that. Yeah, nothing I personally felt in the episode I watched. There was no necessarily wokeness. Uh Maybe there was. No, I don't think there was. I don't think there was like any woke SJW hoo-ha in here. So which is a good thing. But that's just because it doesn't have any of that SJW propaganda-y stuff doesn't mean that it wasn't shit. So again, this is Now, here's the thing, like I'm going in blind, knowing nothing about Star Trek other than there's people who can speak this fictional Klingon stuff. I don't know anything. I don't know. See how these like people have different color coded like shirts. I don't know if that actually represents like their positions or what the fuck. And one of the sad things is that after the episode, I watched the episode. I utterly do not know any of these people's names. Not one of them. I thought I was paying attention. I must like I guess I wasn't that invested because I don't remember any of their names. Um so anyway, yeah, let's jump into it. So I give it a 4 to 10 before I even start talking. That's my overall rating. So if you guys if you guys are like just here to hear my rating of what I give the episode, there you go. 4 to 10. You can leave the video, subscribe, like, comment, whatever. If you want to hear more about the episode, stick around. This obviously has spoilers. So yeah. So I'm gonna talk about it now. So oh man. So the episode off of memory, which I just watched it like an hour ago. And again, I can't remember any of the names. I can't remember any of their names. I almost before I start talking about the episode, I have to say that so what happened with this franchise is that I made a video about Star Trek, about the trailer. I did a trailer kind of video about it, and CBS is like utterly copyrights, like not struck, but they copyright claimed all the footage, like even footage that didn't have sound in it, like it was all gone. Like I had to take an entire my YouTube channel is brand new, and I had to take an entire video down because so much of the footage was missing that it was literally like cuts. There was literally like cuts of me just talking, and they didn't mesh together because there was so much footage missing. So yeah, CBS. If you guys are looking around here, it's like CBS strikes their own panel. So this is what happened. CBS doesn't want people talking about this so much that that basically they're just striking down like all, or like they're striking and copyright claiming like all of the footage. Like no joke. So I had hold on, let's see here. Videos. Let's go right here. So I have this video here. It's called Star Trek Lower Decks Trailer Goes Missing. 46 views and 3 comments there. So in that video, what happened was I was trying to look for the trailer of Star Trek the Star Trek Lower Decks trailer. Okay, it was the day around the day it came out. So I was gonna do a reaction video to the trailer, like a whole bunch of these videos. I sometimes do like reactions, or like yeah, like this one was about the Tig and Seek trailer, where I go over the Tig and Seek trailer, and honestly, it looks like another generic run of the mill cartoon. So I look at all kinds of different trailers for upcoming cartoons. I watched it and I did a video on it, and all the footage, they claimed all the fucking footage in the video, and that was that. Even though there was no sound, they just claimed the living shit out of it. So I wanted to bring that up before I got into this. So yeah, CBS, they claimed my reaction to the trailer so much so that I had to cut out all the footage and just delete the entire video. They then struck down themselves, and it seems like it's a move. I feel like the Star Trek brand is so far gone that it's so far gone that like they're trying to hide. They're trying to like silence people from talking about it because it's only going to ruin their brand more. And it's really interesting too because Nickelodeon a while back, and I didn't do a report on this. Nickelodeon, what was it? Nickelodeon names new Star Trek show, I believe. Star Trek Prodigy. So Star Trek Prodigy Where is this title revealed? Did they reveal like a logo? Uh, there it is, Star Trek Prodigy. So that's an upcoming thing on Nickelodeon. Now, this cartoon was so bad. I'm done. Like I quit after the first episode. I'll talk about it why. I just didn't like it. Honestly, I really didn't like it. But I find it hilarious that it's like not only do they have Star Trek Lower Decks, they also have another show called Star Trek Prodigy. Like who's watching all of this Star Trek garbage? Like who is actually watching all this? I heard that Picard show didn't do too good. A lot of people just did not like that. This show is just I don't like it. I watched the first episode. Usually I give shows a 3 run. One of the shows I did this with recently was Central Park. I watched the first 3 episodes. I'm like, this is just I'm bored. I don't give a shit. I don't like it. I quit out of Central Park after 3 episodes. This show, I'm like, I was so bored. I didn't laugh one time. At least Central Park had a nice like song and jingle in the first episode. So I was like, okay, I'll check out another one. Maybe there's another cool song in there. But no. but yeah, I just I'm just like, what are they gonna Star Trek Prodigy when like Lower Decks is this shitty? Are people gonna check this out too? I don't know, man. But let's jump back in here. I'm not gonna read this article, by the way. It's on the RollingStones.com. Uh, you guys can go read this one. But I'm now going to talk about the episode. So spoiler time. If you don't want to hear it, or go watch the episode now, right now, before I jump in. So basically, what happens is the show is about these. There's this giant like ship, which is I'm assuming the ship from Star Trek or whatever. And there's the upper deck of the ship, and then there's the lower deck. So these are kind of like the people in training to become captains and like all the high ranking people who are at the top of the ship. Uh, so that's the hierarchy here. So these are the low tier people, and then there's the higher tier like captains and all the people at the top. And her mother, this girl's mother right here, runs the ship. And at the end of the episode, it's also revealed that her father is a captain of some other ship, or I think that's what he was. He's some kind of admiral or captain or whatever the fuck, even. I couldn't give a shit. So let's go over the characters. So I don't remember any of their names, which is how much of an impression they left. I remember the first time I saw. Okay, actually, that's a bad example. Like I was gonna say, I remember the first time I saw Rick and Morty, and I remembered like Rick, Morty, and like all the other like Beth and like Summer. Like I don't know. Like I feel like the episode really made such an impression that like you remembered their names. Now that's a little bit cheap. That's a bit of a cheap shot because Rick and Morty is literally in the title where it's like this is called Star Trek Lower Decks, which doesn't have any of their names in it, right? Um, but yeah. uh, let's go over the characters off of my memory. So let's start over here. So this character is a character that I thought was going to be gay. Um, and in the episode, he goes on a date with a girl. Okay. Uh, which was shocking because his voice actor sounds gay. Like he sounds like he has a gay lisp or something. He even looks gay. He even has this kind of like toothpaste hair. Um, so I thought he was going to be gay, but it turns out he's not gay, even though he kind of sounds gay. Um, so his gimmick is that he recently became a new cyborg. So he got all these kind of like cyborg implants on his head there. That's his gimmick. And I thought out of all the characters, he was the least funny. For sure. I just didn't like this character. But basically, the whole joke is that he goes. Oh, geez, I hit my mic again. So the whole joke is that he goes on a date with this kind of like alien girl that has like rashes, I guess, or like she's some kind of like human character, but she also looks like some kind of like alien with spots on her. it's kind of, I don't exactly know what kind of alien race, or if she's just a human with sickness, or I don't fucking know. But he goes on a date with this girl, and I guess they really hit it off. But at the beginning of the episodes, one of the captains, who's on the higher tier sort of portion of the decks, the upper decks, not the lower decks, he goes and makes contact with an alien. And this is, see, I talked earlier about why is this episode called Second Contact? Because the episode is called Second Contact because basically the captains make first contact with the aliens. They do some of the more diplomatic stuff. And then the lower decks people do all the paperwork and all of the, they take care of all the secondary stuff. So that's why they make second contact after, the people make the first contact. So basically, that's how it goes. And while one of the guys in the upper decks, one of the captains of the upper decks, he gets some kind of like boil. He starts like scratching himself, and he gets this kind of like infected virus boil thing, and it starts making all the crew members into like zombies. So if you've seen the Star Trek's Lower Deck trailer, a lot of the shit that was in that trailer is literally just like all this entire episode. Okay, uh, so actually, this is a good time to talk about the good stuff in the. There was only two things. Am I going to give it a third thing? No. There's only two things in this entire show that I ended up enjoying, that I liked. Uh, Actually, you know what? Three. I'm gonna give it three. All right, okay. The first thing I liked was at the beginning, the very start of the episode. This brownie black character here is kind of like drunk. She's drinking some kind of like alien vodka, and she has this giant like knife thing, and she cuts this purple haired guy's leg. And when she cuts him, um, you actually see like the insides of a human leg. Like, you ever go to like the doctor's office and you can kind of see like the inside, and there's all the meat of the leg, and like it shows kind of like what the inside of the body looks like with all the muscle groups and everything. So like she cuts into his leg, and usually in other shows, like Harley Quinn, which was pretty low quality in my opinion, when it came to the animation, which similarly this show is very low budget and did similar things to Harley Quinn. Basically, in Harley Quinn, a lot of times characters would get injured and you would just see blood splotches, and they were just these awful generic blood splotches, and they overused them so much. And in this episode, there was the zombie plague was spreading, or whatever the hell it was, the alien virus plague, and there was all this black ink, and it was like splotching everywhere, and it reminded me of like Harley Quinn, but Harley Quinn was more low budget though. uh but yeah, so what I really enjoyed, one thing I really enjoyed anyway, the first thing was that when they cut into his skin, instead of just being a generic like blood wound, they actually kind of like showed the innards of his like leg, which was really cool. Most cartoons don't put that much detail into it, and maybe they put a little bit too much budget into that, because the rest of the now I'm going to talk about the animation. The animation is better than the standard garbage we're getting at Cartoon Network. I'll tell you that much. It looks better than We Bare Bears and a lot of other shows. At the same time, even though it's like a 6 out of 10, where it's like most Cartoon Network shows are like 5 or 4 out of 10 in my opinion, because they all just look so generic and garbage. This show looks generic and garbage too, but like some of the animation is good. At the same time, which is what, like, this is one of the good things, but also one of the bad things. The animation stuttered. I found the animation was stuttery. You could really tell that the ship that they drive in is a 3D model. It's not animated. You could very clearly see it's a 3D animated model. And a lot of the machinery, there's some things that aren't. There's some things that are very clearly 3D models. There's some things that are 2D. I would say that the tablets in their hand are looking like they were actually made with 2D animation. I could be wrong on that though. But it looks like that. You could definitely tell the robotics on this guy's head were actual animation, right? But some of the things in the show were just like no. And so that's what I liked. I liked there was some scene, one of the best scenes I think in the entire episode, even though it was kind of boring, was they go into this like hologram projector room where like they can make anything happens, or they can make like anything, any kind of like memory, or I don't know how it works, but they can like simulate whatever the hell. They can make it like hologram me up like what Earth looks like or whatever the hell. And then this girl, the brown girl, makes she's like, "Oh, show me what the nude gym looks like or whatever." So there was that. Um, but I thought there was a scene where this green girl, which we'll talk about her later, the green girl, she actually she wants to like see something like her home planet or some other planet, a simulation of what it looks like or whatever. And it looked really cool. It was like you got to see all this like it felt like it was really detailed. It felt like it was really cool. That was probably the best scene of animation in the whole episode, hands down. But like I said, other parts in the show, it just stuttered. The animation kind of felt like it was choppy. It was stuttery. Uh, I also want to say that the well, I'm talking about the good things, but like some of the jokes and the dialogue was so fast. It felt like they talk so fast you don't appreciate the humor. Um, but yeah, so that one of the good things was the leg, how they showed the animation. I guess that could just be tied into one thing where it's like the animation and yeah. So there was no wokeness, which was pretty good. Uh, the animation at some points was good. Like that, an example was the leg and the hologram room. But the third thing that I really liked about the show, and you're going to be surprised to hear this, possibly, is that it was over 20 minutes long. So why is that important? Most of the shows today that are cartoons are just garbage 11-minute segments. Um, and I don't like that. I really don't like that. I don't like the fact that so many shows like they just they're they used to make shows that were like 20 minutes long, and you would get like a full episode, right? Like episodes of Teen Titans, like the characters had room to breathe. They were able to make small talk, etc., etc., etc. So all these kinds of like shows, like Avatar: The Last Airbender, the episodes were 20 minutes ish, 20-ish minutes long. This show was over. I think the show was somewhere around 25, if I'm not mistaken, if you include the credits. But that could have just been the first episode. I hope that all the like I'm not going to watch the show anymore, but I hope that all the episodes are 20 minutes long because 11 minute the I feel like Teen Titans Go it revolutionized the cartoons in all the cartoons in North America in a negative direction. So after Teen Titans Go was such a mega success, and Cartoon Network kept putting it on their network like 24/7. Like there were some days and even weeks where the only show they were showing on Cartoon Network was Teen Titans Go. I shit you not. Okay, it was all Teen Titans Go, and all the other networks seeing how they made this shitty little comedy with low budget animation. They took a property that everybody knew, which was Teen Titans. Everyone loved the old Teen Titans show. They made this fucking garbage, shitty little 11-minute show where it's common. It's like they just make a mockery of what the show was in the past. They make a mockery of the franchise. It's 11 minutes long and it's garbage. So I want to see cartoons return to 20 minutes. So as much as I just didn't enjoy a lot of Harley Quinn. By the way, Harley Quinn is way better than this show. By the way, I actually laughed at the jokes in Harley Quinn. This show just, I mean, at the same time, I watched a whole bunch of Harley Quinn episodes, but I only saw one of this show. But like, I felt Harley Quinn was just way funnier. It was so much funnier than this show. But I want to see a return to 20-minute shows. Okay, Teen Titans Go. It spun off all this kind of shit. They started making like there was a Unikitty show which was like 11 minutes, exact same thing. They did uh they did the Thundercats Roar, which took the Thundercats property. They made it all into this like garbage generic animation style, like Teen Titans Go, garbage, low quality, easy to produce, and they made a mockery of the original Thundercats Roar, which I've never seen, but like it's not the point. It's they ruin they're just it's like they're ruining their own franchises just for a quick they want those Teen Titan Go dollars. This garbage 11-minute show. I just don't like it. I don't like it. So I was glad to see Star. One of the things I liked was that it was a 20-minute show. That's all I'm trying to say here. I'm kind of running out of breath because I've been talking for 30 minutes straight. My voice feels like it's going. But yeah, so those were the things I liked, and that wasn't very much. And now I'll keep talking about the show, and I'll go through some of the characters. So I was talking about him, and the whole joke about him was that he was going on a date with apparently a girl that was quote unquote hot, but she was some kind of like alien or human that had like splotches of like I don't even know if it was a disease. I don't know if it was an alien race or whatever the hell. You know how like elves are like humans, but they have pointed ears. I don't know if this was some kind of like alien race that just has like splotches of like something on their head. I don't know. I honestly don't. I've never seen Star Trek. I don't know what race this girl was supposed to be. But he goes on this date with a hot girl hot girl, apparently, who just she has splotches. She's an alien. She's a human. I don't know what the fuck's going on. But they end up going on a date, which is ironic because this guy sounds like the gayest like character on the entire show. So he goes on a date. And the whole thing was that there's a zombie alien type of outbreak thing that I was talking about. So they made first contact. They made first contact with this purple race of like creatures, and one of the captains gets a boil on his neck. He scratches it. He infects a lot of the crew, and yeah, so that's what happens. So as the infection is going on, and there's all these black splotches of like juice or whatever, like I don't even know, like slime or like tar or whatever the fuck. So like I was saying, Harley Quinn always would do these blood splatters. So they try to do these like cheap black bloods. Like I don't know if it was blood, but it was like some kind of like tar or goo, like alien goo. It was like some kind of splotches of alien juice. Splotches of alien juice. There you go. So the whole thing with his entire character, the whole episode was that he goes on a date with a girl, and he's doesn't matter what's happening in the background. They're defeating the zombies. They're escaping the zombies, and that they're connecting with each other. Okay, they're connecting with each other, and then randomly he talks about this like rare thing that's happening with the technical side. He's like, oh, this door is doing this malfunction or something. I don't understand what the fuck. I honestly, I like I said, I don't know anything about Star Trek, and I was honestly confused as fuck. Okay, but basically, so there was some kind of like computer something, and he's like, oh, you're not interested in this, and she's like, no, why? And he's like, well, I like he just kind of like breaks it off, and they become uninterested in each other. And it was written so poorly that I watched it twice. I watched the same like 2 minutes of footage to understand what the fuck happened, and I still don't understand what happened. I was like, wait, what? So they were hitting it off, and then he says something about a computer, and then I thought they were gonna allude to the fact that this yellow shirted guy was gay. Um, but it turns out, no, he wasn't gay. I think I'm still pretty sure. But so yeah, they just that was it. That was the episode. He goes on a date with this girl, and then something happens with a door, and then they're like, "Oh, we're not interested in each other." She walks away, and that was that. And then at the end of the episode, he talks to this green girl and says, they're like, "Oh, how did your date go?" And then they're talking about, "Oh, she didn't understand the technology behind this door." And then she's like, "Oh, I understand." Or like she's like, "Oh, I know about that." And then so it looks like they're gonna have the green girl and this toothpaste haired looking soy boy here, who's apparently going on dates. So maybe not a soy infused. Okay, he has a slashed eyebrow. Okay, never mind, soy boy. But yeah, so that's it. So it looks like if I were a betting man, they'd probably put the green girl and this guy together based on the first episode. So there's your ship, green girl and this guy, and these two are probably gonna get together, assuming the show gets renewed for a second season or whatever. Anyway, so now we go to this girl. She's like the captain's daughter. She's an adventurous type of character who's breaking the rules, and she's standing up her own mother and causing mayhem and trouble. Um, I thought, oh, I just remembered another good thing about the show. So there's a scene where they're fighting a worm. No, it's not a worm. It's a spider creature. They're fighting some kind of spider creature, um, a giant spider thing, and they ended up. I can't remember why they lost their clothes. Oh, they made to distract the spider creature from eating them. They made like dummies, and they took off their clothes except for like their bras and underwear. And one of the things I liked was she actually had jiggle physics on her tits. Yeah, I'm not like it was very minimal, but like I'm like, wow, they actually did jiggle physics in a day and age where Twitter would probably cry. If Twitter sees this video and hears about the jiggle physics, it was 2 seconds. Okay, it was like 2 seconds, but like she's on a tree and she's swinging around, and you could see like for a minute or two, you could see like a jiggle in her breast region because her clothes were off, which is natural, right? Like breast jiggle. So that was good to see that they actually showcased a little fan service there, you know? Okay. Um, but yeah, so there's another good thing, but most of it was just bad. So yeah, that was her story. Is kind of like her mom tells this guy secretly to keep an eye on her. She was trying to sell like weapons, or no, she was selling farming tools. Her story is that like she used to be a captain, but then she got demoted for, I can't remember. She says why she got demoted, but and then I honestly just didn't care. Maybe that's why. She gets demoted in the past. We don't really get to see it, but she tells us about it. And she knows that they need weapons, or not weapons. They need farming supplies. They need some farming supplies, so she's selling them like what do you call it? A pitchfork. She's selling them like an electronic pitchfork, some kind of cybernetic farming tools. He interprets it. Her mom gives this purple haired guy uh, the mission to watch over her and make sure she's not doing anything. So he thinks that she's illegally selling weapons. So that's what happens there. And then this spider creature kind of like comes out and attacks them. Turns out the spider creature is an omnivore, which means that it, or no, is it a herbivore? It's a herbivore, right? It turns out it doesn't eat meat, so it spit, even though it kind of like bites on this guy. It made it look like he was dead and he was going to be eaten by the spider. No, turns out no, they were never in any danger. Don't worry about it, folks. They were never in any danger. It was just a spider who was chewing on them, just for like a joke, I guess. And that was that. Oh, it also, I think it destroys his clothes, so he didn't have any clothes for like one scene, and then but they don't show his dick or anything. Don't worry. Uh, um, but yeah, so she is just like kind of a troublemaker character, and then in the end, um, he doesn't rat. He doesn't tell her mom on her, even though she was doing something. She was selling like tools, like even though she wasn't supposed to. And yeah, so that was that. So that's basically takes care of her. She kind of like, I guess, was integral. If any character was the most integral, it was probably her. And then this character just is like a bitch. He's honestly just a bitch. He's everybody's punching bag. No, everyone treats him like a bitch because he is a bitch. His dream is to be a captain one day. So he like people don't even know his name. They call him like whatever. I don't even fucking know his name. In the show, they call him the wrong name, like or maybe not on purpose, but they just don't give a shit. Much like me, I don't give a shit. And that's what happened. Yeah. So he doesn't tell on her, and then he gets eaten by the spider. But then the spiders are herbivore or whatever, so it spits him back out after suckling on him for like half the show. Um, and then that's that. So he has a fruitful adventure showcasing what a bitch he is, and that's that. And then the green girl, who's so these are, I guess, the four main characters. I like her the best. She's really good. She doesn't do much. She doesn't say much. I like her design. She's cool. I like her. Um, she reminds me of Gamora from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but she doesn't have like a sassy like Gamora. This girl has like Gamora's personality. This girl is more of a friendly, docile, uh, friendly character. So she's excited to be there. Uh, she's the only exciting part of the show. You know, she gets on the ship for the first time, and she's excited to be. She's just excited to be on the show, which was good to see because it's like, I don't know, when you feel like one of the characters actually wants to be there, then you feel like you want to watch it and be there. So I liked scenes where she was in, and that was about it. She doesn't do much. She helps cure the zombie plague. Oh, I almost forgot this guy's main role. So when the spider was suckling on him, the spider left this like pink goo, and then when they get back on the ship, this like cat doctor, which just has a terror. The cat doctor is a girl for some reason, and and I don't know. It was weird. The cat, she's a girl. It's a girl cat. The voice actor, the design looks weird and off. The voice actor looked weird and off. The design looked weird and off of the cat nurse character, whatever the hell that was. Um, and the cat nurse tests the goo that was on him, and it turns out, conveniently as fuck, the goo that was on him is the cure that they need to stop the zombie alien plague from just infecting everyone. So hooray. Hooray for convenience. Yay. So yeah, so then she helps cure the plague. She doesn't, I guess she introduces the audience to the ship, and then that's that. And then at the end of the episode, they're all kind of like in this room, and they're reminiscing about like Klingons and all kinds of like Star Trekky types of mumbo jumbo that I just didn't understand because I don't understand Star Trek. And that's it. That's how it ends. Now I wanted to say about the dialogue. Nothing was funny. I didn't find any of the characters funny, even though I like this green character here. I thought she was pretty good. Um, I didn't laugh. I didn't like smile. I didn't smirk. I just felt like 20 minutes passed by, and I'm like, oh, it's over. And I didn't feel like it was of quality. That's what I think I would say. Um, it just felt like another generic show. Like it really did. It felt like a generic show with the Star Wars property attached. Kind of like Teen Titans Go and like Thundercats Roar and all of those 11-minute little shit shows, types like that. Um, yeah, that's what it felt like. So I didn't like it. and I just realized that I rambled on for 45 minutes. Holy fuck. Yeah, let's see, 44 minutes, basically, going on 45. So I think this is a good place to wrap up. I talked about some good things. I talked about a lot of the bad things, which it's just boring. It's a boring show. Boring show. None of the characters were so just like uninteresting to me. I don't know their names. I don't know any of their names, even though I watched a 20-minute episode. Okay, I don't know their names. But yeah. So, and the question is, if you ask me would I want to watch another episode, I just don't care. I don't care about Star Trek. I don't want to see whatever more of what this is. It was just very middling. It was very mediocre. I'm out. Like, I'm out after one episode. I just don't. I don't wanna. I don't want to be watching this for. You know. I don't want to keep watching this. It was just. It just felt like a nonsense of the week episode where they had to go against a zombie alien horde, and then they cure it out of convenience, and it's over. That's it. So that's that. I think it's perfect time to wrap up now. Um, Please let me know what you think about this. Let me know if you actually fucking watch this whole 45-minute ramble. Let me know in the comments if you like this show. Let me know if in the comments if you hated the show. Give me a thumb up. Give me a thumbs down if you agree or disagree with me. If you thought it was amazing, let me know for some reason. I don't know how you would think this is an amazing show. There was a lot of plot convenience happening. But yeah, that's that. Thank you guys for watching. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Sandro out. See you later, folks.